All right, guys, today we're joined by Bernie here. He's actually setting up the center section on a 9-inch Ford. And I thought we'd kind of watch over his shoulder here a bit, and maybe he could explain to us what he's doing.
At this point, I'm just checking the backlash on the gears, and this particular one, they want about 6 to 10, and I've got the setup here and the dial indicator to read the actual backlash in it. So, and we want, basically we're running about 5.5 on this one, so which is really good. I've done a pre-torque on the cap bolts, but I want to do a final on those. And we're getting ready to put this gear set into the strange diff that we just put together.
Oh, that's
put all the brakes, everything on it. So
that's a really nice beefed up housing on there. It's pretty cool with all the gussets and everything.
yeah, it's dandy. They just don't make them much better than that.
And this is going in the T-Bird?
Yeah, 63 T-Bird. It's got a Coyote motor in it. So.
Cool.
Well, at least you know that won't break.
Absolutely not. Bulletproof. Caps call for 60 pounds torque on them.
So on these cap bolts, you torque them down in series. Like, do you go to a certain, like 40 pounds and then come back and go do them again?
Not so much on these. I'd already kind of put a little bit of a pre-torque on them. I was setting it up, so now I'm just doing a final to make sure they're good. I mean, you kind of draw them down equally. There's always that, but it's not necessarily that big a deal.
You said about 65 pounds?
60 is what it called
60
for in
pounds.
these particular, yeah. And we're on a 370 gear on this one, so it's really great on the highway with overdrive. Does a good job.
When these are finally assembled, do you take the grease, run the pinion in there and see how it's meshing
Yeah, I
up?
still gotta do a final on it, but I was just, we had done a set on this, and we were just closing the backlash up on a little bit. It was a little bit wider, and we wanted to close it up, but our pattern was always pretty good.
Yeah.
But it would just this will give us a little more depth.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go get the grease here and do a pattern on it, make sure I'm happy with the final. But we should be right there.
Cool. All right, so that actually is like a special pattern grease, basically.
Yeah, it's
That comes with the gear set when you buy them, or?
right. Yeah, I usually get it, and sometimes we even buy there's some people like the blue, brush the tooth over really good.
And again, that's so you can mesh it with the pinion, and you'll see on here how deep it's going.
Right,
basically.
get a good pattern, look for something good strong tooth pattern, and make sure we're striking it right that we get it. We have to check also the coast side too.
As far as the setup, if that backlash was too tight, is that when you get some gear noise out of them?
Yeah, and just strictly not having the right pattern is always a big problem.
And that's what will
I
cause
see
the
a lot of
howling.
them out there where people have set them up and they don't really, they get to thinking they're okay and they're not. They're not really checking everything really as close as they should. And sometimes, you get a pattern that's fair, but there can always be a better pattern. So sometimes it really takes a lot of trial and error to get yourself into the ball game. So I'm gonna roll it through here and get the mesh that pinion gear in real good. Let's take a look and see. Oh yeah, we got a nice pattern going here. Real nice. In a good depth, in a good which, you know, I knew
Oh
was
yeah,
going
you
to be
can
right
see
there.
it
Yeah.
taking it all the way down there,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, good depth on the gear, good pattern, good strong pattern.
Cool.
And
And I
then
know
the
people-
coast side's the same way. It's right in the middle of the tooth, good strong pattern. If you look real close, like up in here, you can see it's got a really long tooth running, which is good.
So that's exactly what you want to see, pretty
Exactly,
much.
yeah. You don't get any better than that.
I know people love these 9-inch Fords because you can take that whole center section out like that. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and they're bulletproof for the most part. I mean, you get good service out of them. They can take a lot. Yeah, the neat thing about these though is you get all this for a really reasonable price, and then you get the axles with it. So it's not bad at all. Axle studs, bearings. So,
And
you
of
know,
course, on that T-Bird, it had a little bit of custom work done to the suspension in the back and everything too,
Right.
right? So
Right, that was a
you
diagonal.
needed those tabs in a specific place, and
diagonal 4-link, which was really a little tricky under the way the original frame rails are laid out on it. That was all matched up, but this is way more than most cars ever had. So
oh yeah,
it works
yeah,
out really nice.
400 horsepower should make it move pretty well, you know.
Yeah, I think it's in the low 4s.
Cool. Sounds
We're
good.
to go.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for walking us through that a little bit and showing us how that works. That's pretty cool. And I know a lot of people, myself included, won't tackle a rear end on their own. So
There's a lot to it. Sometimes
Yeah.
you spend a whole lot of time getting them set. So,
I know you got to get that adjustment just right and shim properly and everything. But anyway, thanks again, Bernie.
all right, you're welcome.